The movie opens with a scene featuring police cars. Inside one of these vehicles sits a criminal, accompanied by a female police officer named Helle. Helle observes that the criminal appears disoriented and anxious. Concerned for his well-being, she instructs the driver to pull over at the roadside and remove the covering from the criminal's face. Helle engages in a conversation with the criminal, attempting to offer reassurance and comfort, ensuring him that no harm will come to him. When she senses that the young man's anxiety has diminished, she authorizes their journey to the courthouse to proceed. Upon their arrival at the courthouse, a throng of journalists and onlookers awaits them. Inquisitive citizen attempts to approach the police car, but the officers promptly intervene, directing the individual to leave the scene. Helle endeavors to shield the fugitive from reaching the courthouse, but an assailant fatally shoots the fugitive in the head, resulting in his immediate demise. Meanwhile, inside the detention cell, another person awakens due to the commotion. In the confines of the prison, a daily routine unfolds for a particular inmate. He rises early and makes his way to the prison yard. Engrossed in a game of chess, he observes a group of fellow inmates harassing another prisoner. Initially, he chooses to look the other way, but a sense of empathy compels him to intervene. Extending an invitation, he guides the beleaguered inmate to the chessboard. The man, named Zaid, imparts valuable advice on adhering to prison regulations for safety. When the young prisoner inquires about the existence of someone waiting for him on the outside, Zaid remains silent, instead encouraging a focus on the chess game. As the day progresses, Zaid takes a seat to craft a paper bird, beside which rests a photograph of a young boy named Noah. The warden informs him of a visitor, who surprisingly turns out to be Helle. She queries his knowledge of Mutter, the gang leader recruiting youths. Bewildered by her inquiry, he presses for her intentions. In response, she unveils her desire to thwart Mutter's operations, presenting an offer to him. She proposes that he infiltrate Mutter's gang with the promise of eventual release by the police upon success. He remains silent in response. Instead, he brings up the tragic shooting outside the courthouse, lamenting the loss of the young man. Helle questions whether he yearns for a return to his previous ordinary life, and how much longer he's willing to be apart from his son, Noah. Without giving a direct response, he abruptly departs, retreating to his cell. Inside his cell, he decides to pen a birthday letter to Noah, brimming with well wishes. However, he ultimately chooses not to send it, opting for slumber instead. Yet, amid his sleep, the warden awakens him and requests that he move to another prison cell. As he steps into the new cell, he finds himself surrounded by gangsters and questions the reason for his transfer. The warden remains tight-lipped. There, he spots the paper bird he crafted and realizes he's been relocated for a covert mission within the gangster's cell. In the morning, Zaid experiences an unexpected intrusion as a group of fellow inmates enters his cell. They mockingly remove a picture of his son, Noah, from the wall, taunting the child's gender. Disturbed by their insensitivity, Zaid's frustration mounts, leading to a physical altercation with one of the prisoners. The gang eventually withdraws. At night, he endeavors to call Noah and extend birthday wishes, only to be met with his son's rejection of the call. The following morning, Helle pays a visit to Zaid in his prison quarters. He communicates his willingness to undertake the mission, under the condition that his previous life is reinstated. Helle's reaction suggests approval, and she presents a prepared parole letter promising freedom upon mission completion. Helle outlines the plan for Zaid to infiltrate Mutter's gang through a trust-building deal. Determined, Zaid eventually takes action, confronting and engaging in a confrontation with a gangster in the prison yard. The following day, Zaid is summoned to meet with someone, leading to a conversation with Adil about the prior day's altercation. Zaid recognizes Adil's influence within the prison, but he highlights his rapport with certain guards, leading them to agree to collaborate. Zaid is given a directive to confront a young man held in cell 157, the child of a sex worker from the area. Accompanied by Adil and his group, Zaid approaches cell 157, only to find that it's the same young man he had previously played chess with. Subsequently, he is released from prison and navigates to a tall building where he once resided. Seeking the 23rd floor, he takes in the fresh air from his balcony and proceeds to an exhibition where he encounters Stina, who works there. Zaid extends his congratulations on her pregnancy, although she wasn't prepared to see him after his release. Their disagreement eventually leads to Zaid's determination to reunite with his son. Ultimately, Stein permits Zaid to watch Noah's soccer practice. As night descends, Zaid receives a call from Jimmy, who requests a meeting outside the building. Zaid climbs into a car, only for Jimmy to abruptly halt the vehicle and an unknown individual to seize Zaid from behind. Jimmy reveals his vigilance over Zaid, fueled by the knowledge of Zaid's former medical profession. He probes Zaid's intentions regarding a deal in the group. Following this unsettling encounter, Zaid is left stranded in the middle of the road. The next day, Zaid with Helle at an exhibition and apprises her of Jimmy's surveillance. In response, Helle equips Zaid with a microphone and GPS device to gather intelligence on Mutter. She underscores the secrecy of their operation, with the police believing Zaid to be part of the gang. As night falls, Jimmy retrieves Zaid, transporting him to an undisclosed location. Before entering the room, Jimmy inspects Zaid's possessions. Inside, Mutter and his gang wait. Zaid is tasked with performing surgery on an injured individual, and he requests privacy for the procedure. Jimmy expresses discontent, but Mutter orders his men to exit as requested. However, Mutter remains in the room, as the injured person is revealed to be his brother, Nashar. Zaid skillfully extracts the bullet from Nashar's lung. The following morning, he pays a visit to Steenie's house in the hope of reconnecting with his son. Sadly, Noah fails to recognize him, but Zaid remains optimistic. He is warmly received as a guest and invites Noah to engage in play within the room. Later, Zaid aligns with Mutter and his crew, embarking on a mission to locate the individual responsible for Nashar's injury before returning to their hideout. To Zaid's surprise, he encounters Diddy, his neighbor, who discreetly serves as a spy for Mutter, overseeing Zaid's apartment. Assigned to retrieve goods at the port, Zaid discreetly places a tracking device in Mutter's car before they depart. Jimmy issues a stern warning for Zaid to execute the task flawlessly. However, the expected goods intended for Mutter are pilfered by Boba's henchmen, the same individuals responsible for Nashar's injury. Zaid sets out for Boba's encampment to recover the pilfered goods. Initially, Boba hesitates to surrender them, but through his determination, Zaid successfully regains possession of the merchandise. Returning to Mutter's camp, he recounts the situation, explaining how Boba briefly seized the drugs, which he later reclaimed. Mutter initially meets Zaid's report with skepticism, but Zaid's persuasive efforts eventually win him over. He even proposes a meeting with Boba at the club, considering Boba's sour mood. The following day, Zaid encounters Noah and Steen on the beach, where they engage in a casual conversation. Amid their discussion, Noah inquires about Zaid's potential return to prison or his ability to stay. Zaid assures Noah of his intent to remain, prompting Noah to seek clarification about the crime that led to Zaid's incarceration. After his encounter with Noah, Zaid heads to the library, presenting Helle with a voice recording comprising messages from the past 14 days spent with Mutter and his group. Pausing to reflect on his actions with Mutter, Zaid addresses Noah's curiosity about the crime that landed him in prison. Helle offers reassurance, affirming that one day, Noah will come to understand his father's role in preventing crime, which alleviates some of Zaid's concerns. One evening, Zaid confers with Mutter, who tasks him with joining Nashar and Diddy for a significant assignment. They pause at a shop, engaging in conversation inside the car. Unbeknownst to Zaid, Helle covertly observes from a distance. Moments later, the car is targeted by two assailants who open fire. Thankfully, Zaid and Diddy narrowly evade harm, but tragically, Nashar loses his life. Seeking refuge in the shop they had earlier visited, two gangsters pursue them. Helle arrives on the scene to assist Zaid, who decides to allow Diddy to exit the shop before re-entering to confront the gangsters. To his surprise, he finds Helle inside. While they converse, Diddy discreetly observes them without interference. Zaid and Diddy return to Mutter's camp, overhearing one of Mutter's associates mention a GPS device on Mutter's car. The sound of approaching police sirens raises suspicions. Mutter bars Zaid from leaving, extending an invitation to a garage-like building. Inside, Mutter subjects a man named Racine to torment, suspecting that he may have divulged information to Boba concerning a drug delivery. Racine eventually concedes to the allegation, but vehemently denies placing the tracking device in Mutter's vehicle. Subsequently, the other men remove Racine from the scene. In the library, Zaid confides in Helle regarding the distressing incident involving Racine. Riddled with guilt, he expresses a desire to withdraw from the mission, but Helle sternly underscores that quitting would render him susceptible to Mutter's reach. The following day, Mutter engages in a conversation with Diddy, inquiring about the incident near the supermarket, where Nashar was shot. Initially, Diddy conceals the truth, but ultimately discloses that Zaid encountered a policewoman who refrained from arresting him. This revelation leaves Mutter momentarily speechless. Zaid enjoys quality time with Noah at an amusement park, relishing games and heart-to-heart conversations. While returning home, their vehicle comes under attack from another car. Fortunately, Zaid manages to evade the threat and drops Noah off at Stein's house. Before parting, he implores Noah to remember his love and shares a heartfelt hug and kiss. Upon returning to his apartment, Zaid is met with a scene of chaos, and Noah's picture is conspicuously absent. He recognizes it as Mutter's handiwork and promptly notifies Helle. Regrettably, shortly thereafter, Mutter's henchmen apprehend him. Mutter transports Zaid to the site where Racine endured torture and ominously announces his intent to visit Noah and Stein. Fearing for their safety, Zaid implores Mutter not to harm them, resulting in Jimmy preparing to assault Zaid. Against the odds, Zaid manages to break free, prevailing over Jimmy and the other men. Undaunted, he heads for Mutter's stronghold, resolute in his determination to confront him. First, he must face Mutter's underlings. When he eventually reaches Mutter's chamber, he discovers Diddy and a group of young individuals. In a shocking turn of events, Zaid is shot in the leg by Mutter. Unexpectedly, Diddy turns on Mutter, training a firearm on him. Zaid seizes the opportunity to eliminate Mutter, and Diddy aids him in their escape from the camp. Zaid escorts Diddy home and momentarily gazes at a photo of Noah. In a matter of minutes, police sirens grow nearer to Mutter's stronghold. The end.